think direct action brings media attention often, and it brought some fairly statewide, if not, some of the actions have brought fairly wide recognition in the media, which means, a certain audience awareness. And then the kinds of more indirect, if you will, or legal actions that we've been pursuing, or regulatory actions that Preserve has been pursuing, can have an impact as well. I think they go hand in glove, and they both have their own place. We'll just see which one works better. But the direct action brought attention in one case, one lawsuit, which I can't remember the details of. The direct action brought attention to it, and then the legal action that followed received more scrutiny than it might have had otherwise.
Sure.
Occasionally we win. Once in a while we win.
Yeah. I even saw that a lawsuit made its way to the Supreme Court within the last couple weeks that the Supreme Court then denied. But still, that's like...
Yeah, I know. And, I think, I don't know, we may be wrong in this. I'm sure the pipeline would dispute it. But I don't think they were prepared. Many of us don't think they were prepared for the onslaught of legal cases that have resulted from this and the drains it would put on their attorneys and their legal staff. Last time I looked, they're $1.3 billion or $1.2 billion over budget. Not million, billion. Wow. And a large part of that has to do with legal costs by their own admission. Meanwhile, what we've got are some of our attorneys aren't very good, some of them are very good, and a lot of them are working at reduced rates, and like advocates are doing it basically for free.
Wow.
So we have, that's what happens, folks, when you start attacking the land of people of means who have million-dollar incomes. Or several $100,000. In other words, they have some discretionary funds that they can put towards this.
It does seem like a pretty incredible network that has arisen out of all of this, for sure.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, again, bigger picture, how do you see your neighbors and your community? How are they receiving this sort of activism?
It depends on the person. It depends on the family. I think you have to be more specific, dear, because it just depends on who you're talking to.
Sure, and I think that's part of it, but is there a general sense that you get amongst folks, or is it really truly like independent, family by family sort of thing?
Well, family by family and orientation. That's part of it doesn't have a major university in it. We do. So within the major university community, it varies according to the direct action. The resistance to it is by and large supported. But which kind of resistance, whether one or both sides, the direct action or the legal type action, just depends on the person. I would suspect, if I had a hypothesis, that most people in the area are less supportive of direct action than they are of the legal action. That's because of the nature of being an academic and a PhD. In the rest of the county, which is divided into several areas, based on their heritage and their own historic kinds of experiences, I think you will find that some people think that direct action has been stupid, and others will find that it's kind of cool. But most people, I think, would say direct action is inappropriate in that section of that. That's a hypothesis, because I don't have the answer to tell you. I just know that a number of people are supportive, and a number of people are supportive of one facet or another of it, and a bunch of folks are, I don't care, it's not in my backyard, it's not coming my way, so whatever.
Sure. And and that's part of it for me, is I'm not looking for the exact answers, but for perceptions, and for those hypotheses that people... So.
I have left this out, but a whole lot of folks, particularly in the sections of the county that are most distant, most unrelated to the university, we have folks who have, very modest incomes, and we did a survey with them on another issue involving Roanoke Gas, and what we found was a heck of a lot of folks just really don't care. Because if you're poor, you tend to be very focused on your getting by every day, and politics are something terribly, the political implications of environmental issues just aren't in your world.
Absolutely. And that's something that I'm generally very interested in, with this study overall, is how that has been playing out, or if it plays out at all, because that is a very well-founded reality, is that for people in poverty, this is not on their radar, because who has the space for that? But great.
We do know that, where they're putting the pipeline along its whole route, they've hit rural people, most of whom are white. We don't have that many African Americans impacted. There's one small community in Giles County that is being impacted. Now, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, you have a major impact on the around the what is it? Something Hill. I can't pull it up right now. Hopefully, it'll come up in a minute. Union Hill community, and that's a big deal. But for us, it's mostly white. They're mostly elderly, and you have a lot of sick people, and that's what they've been counting on. We think. But then you have, especially in that I know about fairly well, you have a lot of folks who are people of means who are able to fight back.
Absolutely.
With money, to be able to do things that are funded. Not a whole lot. I'm not saying that we can't use money. I'm just saying we've been able to do a lot of things that perhaps would not have happened in the more coalfield-oriented counties where they're really broke.
Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. So finances are a part of it. Are there other factors that you see impacting people's decision and whether or not they participate in this activism?
Yeah, NIMBYs. You have the NIMBYs not in my backyard, so I don't care. And as far as the factors, like I think I've said, there are things like a lot of the university students and others who are involved have to do with climate change and getting off fossil fuels. So they're interested in a more abstract reason. The landowners seeing their land destroyed, so they can't use it in a manner that they feel they can't, and they probably can't use it in a manner in which they find efficacious. Nobody wants to live right next to not nobody, but who wants to live literally right next to a 42-inch pipeline that has been poorly constructed in many cases? And what happens if it explodes? And when we say explodes, you're acting like a terrorist. We just had an explosion, another inner city explosion yesterday. Was it, or 2 days ago? The number of gas line explosions has increased exponentially over the last 2 years. And these big pipelines, when they go, they really go. So it's a real concern for a whole lot of people. We know of one house whose property value went, or not a house, one lot, whose property value went to zero, almost zero, because it's right next to the pipeline. They're saying the other day, utilities properties are increasing in price. Yeah, but what about residential properties? So another factor impacting it has to do with how close you are to a pipeline. And the issue, what happens if it just leaks? So it doesn't explode, it just leaks. Then, what is it? Because they don't put in, natural gas has no odorant. The smell you get with natural gas is because the gas company or somebody has put an odorant into it. So if one of these natural gas lines is allowed to distribute it without adding any odorant. And so what happens if it leaks? which it will, because the burying, some of this is not being, supposed to be burying about 8 feet down. They're not in some places. They can't. The rock won't let them. So, they're fairly close to the surface. So, and then what if it leaks into your water? You've got, these old movies that show you turning your tap water on fire, which may or may not happen. I mean, because they're not going into the home.